Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. Good to see you all. Tonight we're continuing with our study of Sri Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Now tonight we will continue chapter 1. Chapter 1, as we know, is called Observing the Armies on the Battlefield. Last week we reached text number 19, and this week we will continue from text number 20. And if you have any questions or any comments as we go, then please ask. So text number 20. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport that when the Kurus blew their respective conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. But for the Kauravas, when they heard the conch shells being blown by the Pandavas, they had such confidence in Krishna that the hearts of the Kauravas, they cracked. They felt completely overwhelmed by the sound of the Kauravas the Pandavas blowing their conch shells. Because Prabhupada points out they had complete faith in Lord Krishna. And when one has complete faith in Lord Krishna, then the sound of the blowing of their conch shells became transcendental, and it broke the hearts of the Kauravas. Now, in this verse, it is mentioned, Prabhupada says, both Rama and Hanuman were on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever. In such auspicious conditions lay the signs of assured victory. So, Arjuna's chariot, on top of the chariot there was the flag. And on the flag was Hanuman. And Hanuman had been met by Bhimasena. Bhimasena, when they were in exile in the forest, he once traveled up into I believe it was the foothills of the Himalayas. And as he was walking up, he came across an old and a huge monkey. And he wanted to continue on the path that he was walking on, but the monkey's tail was lying across the path. And Bhima, being cultured and civilized, he did not want to step over the tail of the monkey, who was an elder, who he considered to be a superior. This is culture. This is Vedic culture. So he asked the monkey, please move your tail. The monkey said, I'm unable to, I'm too old. But he said, you can move it if you want. So Bhima picked up the tail, and even though he was as strong as 80,000 elephants, he felt that he could not move the tail of the monkey. And then he got the realization that this personality could only be one person. It must be Hanuman himself. And they were brothers because they were both sons of the wind god Vayu. So he offered obeisances to Hanuman, and he said, please bless us. We have a great battle coming. And Hanuman said that I cannot participate in the battle, but I will stay on the flag of your brother Arjuna. And while Krishna is driving his chariot, I will roar battle cries, which will assist Arjuna while he is fighting on the battlefield. So what happened when the battle begins is that Hanuman, he would, as they were charging, Krishna was driving the chariot, Arjuna was firing his arrows, and as they were charging towards the core of an army, Hanuman would scream battle cries. And it is said that those battle cries would cause the enemy army to pass stool and urine simultaneously. That was the power, that was the potency of Hanuman being on the chariot. And of course, Prabhupada points out that Ramachandra, the supreme archer, the greatest of all heroes, the Supreme Lord himself, was also on the chariot. In the sense that he is non-different from Lord Krishna, who is the original form of Godhead. So victory was basically assured. That Ram and Hanuman were on your army, were on your chariot. It was guaranteed that they would win, even though they had the smaller army, and the other side had arguably had greater generals. But they had so much confidence in Krishna, and they had Krishna himself and Hanuman, and their confidence and their purity and their faith in Krishna allowed them to win the battle. So text number 21 and 22. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Ubiyor, Senayor, Majay, Ratam, Stapaya, Mechuta. So, Arjuna calls in this verse, Arjuna calls Krishna Achutya, which means infallible one. Now, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna and Sanjaya, they use different names to address Krishna. And I can't remember exactly how many different names they use for Krishna when they address him in the Bhagavad Gita. But I think it's somewhere between like 15 and 20 something. Like it's a significant amount of names. And none of these names are haphazard. We have to understand this point. It's an important point. That these are not just random names. It's not that Arjuna just randomly calls Krishna a particular name. Each name is specifically chosen due to a particular, for a particular reason. So this name, which Arjuna uses in this verse when addressing Krishna is Achyutya. And actually, this is the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Because we see Arjuna, we see Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita driving the chariot of Arjuna. He is known as Parthasarathi. So he's driving Arjuna's chariot. Now, it's interesting because the first time we see Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the elaboration of the Bhagavad Gita. So the first time we see Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he is driving the chariot of Arjuna once again, chasing Ashwatthama. Now we have to understand this in context. We have to understand this properly. This is significant. The first time you see Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, or when you see Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, the first time you see Krishna in Bhagavatam, he's driving the chariot of his friend Arjuna. Now, in Vedic civilization, to be born in a Kshatriya family, to be a prince or a princess, and to become a king or a queen, this is extremely exalted. And to be a chariot driver, it's like the equivalent in modern day culture of being a taxi driver. To be a taxi driver is not considered to be a highly skilled or a high class occupation. Not that we have anything, we're not passing judgment, and not that we have any prejudice towards anyone, but we're just saying objectively, it's not considered to be like a high class position. So similarly, in the Vedic times, to drive a chariot, to be a chariot driver, it's not considered to be a high class position or situation, right? Not compared to being the person driven on the chariot, the prince or the princess, or the king or queen. So the fact that Krishna is taking this subservient position for his devotee, this shows Krishna's greatest quality. And what is Krishna's greatest quality? His greatest quality is Bhaktavatsala. A Bhaktavatsala means he is the protector, the maintainer of his devotees. Krishna, even though he is the supreme Lord himself, the source of everything, Aham Savasya Prabhavo Mataha Savam Pravartate, Krishna says within the Bhagavad Gita, I am the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. I am the supreme personality of Godhead himself. Even though he is Swayam Bhagavan, he is the original, all-powerful, supreme entity, he prefers, instead of being worshipped as God, he prefers to serve his loving devotees, to take a subservient position. This is his greatest quality. Now, Krishna, the first time we see him in the Bhagavad Gita, he is driving the chariot of Arjuna. And Arjuna says to Krishna, Achyutya, O infallible one. Arjuna orders him, please drive my chariot between the two armies so that I can see those present here who desire to fight and who I must contend with in this great trial of arms. So Arjuna is ordering Krishna, but he calls him Achyutya. Oh, my friend Achyutya. Oh, infallible one. Arjuna knows, he is confident that Krishna will follow his orders or his instructions. He will fulfill his desire. This is the intimacy that the devotee has with Krishna. He has that intimate relationship with Krishna, that he knows that Krishna will fulfill his desires. So this is the extraordinary position of Krishna. Prabhupada says in the purport, although Krishna is supreme, out of causeless mercy, he serves his devotee. Although he serves his devotee, his supreme position is not challenged. When a pure devotee orders him, he obtains transcendental pleasure. He takes transcendental pleasure. Now, what does this teach us on a practical level? God himself aspires to serve his devotee. So we, as his devotees, we should also aspire to serve Krishna's devotees. Krishna is setting the example. He is serving the devotee. We should also aspire to serve his devotees. That's the extraordinary position of Krishna. Okay. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. So Prabhupada points out in the purport that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas. Persons who had joined Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to learn who they were before the fight began, to make an estimate of the strength he had to face, although he was confident of victory because Krishna was by his side. So Duryodhana, before the battle, he was trying to bring as many generals and soldiers and armies on his side as possible to win the battle. And he used trickery sometimes to recruit. But in general, many of the warriors who sided with Duryodhana instead of Yudhishthira, they had as Prabhupada said, they were evil-minded, or they had a materialistic state of consciousness. As Prabhupada said, birds of a feather flock together. So if we are all products of our association. Sangat sanjayate kama. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whoever you associate with, you will become like that. You'll become like them. If you associate with materialistic people, you will also become a materialist. If you associate with devotees, you will become a devotee. So Duryodhana, he was a materialist, so he attracted other materialists to side with him and to fight with him. Whereas Yudhishthira, he attracted saintly kings, Rajashis, and they came to fight with him in order to fight this battle. Text number 24. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of both parties. So, Arjuna himself is referred to as Gudakesh. Gudakesh means one who has conquered sleep. Arjuna, he was so devoted to serving Krishna that he was able to conquer sleep. Just like Srila Prabhupada. You know, Srila Prabhupada would only sleep for 2 hours a night. You know, so he conquered sleep because he had so much desire to serve Krishna. And similarly, you know, devotees, they desire to serve Krishna. They have that transcendental desire. Therefore, they can conquer sleep like Arjuna has done. Arjuna was so determined to become the greatest warrior on the planet in order to serve Krishna with his warriorship, with his military abilities. He used to practice shooting his arrows even in the dark. He became so fixed. So he would stay up even during the night firing his arrows just to become expert as a warrior, so he could serve Krishna with this skill. So this is the position of an advanced devotee. An advanced devotee has no desire other than to serve Krishna, and therefore he conquers the 3 modes of material nature. And he conquers sleep. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So, Krishna in this verse is known as Hrishikesh. So the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. At this point, it appears Krishna, he covers Arjuna with Yoga Maya. There are 2 types of Maya. 2 types. The word Maya means illusion. There are 2 types of illusion. There is Maha Maya and Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya means the spiritual. The spiritual potency. Maha Maya means the material potency, or the material potency of forgetfulness, where we forget Krishna. Now, it's important to understand that Arjuna, when he appears to become bewildered at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, this is the effect of the spiritual potency, Yoga Maya, not the material Maha Maya potency. He is not like us, where we forget Krishna willingly. It is not like that. Arjuna was covered by Krishna. Krishna covers him with Yoga Maya, so that he becomes bewildered, so that Krishna can then speak the Bhagavad Gita for our benefit. Because Arjuna is already a pure devotee. So in one sense, he doesn't need to hear the Bhagavad Gita. Whereas we need to hear the Bhagavad Gita. That's why it's being spoken. So the fact that Krishna is called Rishikesh means master of the senses. And Krishna being the master of the senses, being the super soul, he knows everything. So he understood the mind of Arjuna. Arjuna was about to have some doubts. Right? Just behold, all the Kurus assembled here. Arjuna was seeing the Kurus, the Kauravas. His own family members were on the other side of the battlefield. The Kauravas were his cousin brothers. So this is an important point to understand, that Krishna speaks the Bhagavad Gita, and he asks Arjuna to fight. And Prabhupada says in one class, Prabhupada said that the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken simply to make Arjuna angry. Why would Krishna want to make Arjuna angry? He wanted to make Arjuna angry so that he would fight. And this is confusing for many people. Why? We're the Hare Krishna movement, we're known for being a movement of peace and love. So if we're a movement of peace and love, why is it that Krishna is emphasizing fighting on a battlefield? Why is he emphasizing it? You can't hear me. If you can't hear me, this means that there's a problem with the internet. Unfortunately, because otherwise you would be able to hear me. Can you hear me now? Is that better? It's an internet problem. If you're unable to hear me, that means the internet's having problems. Okay, you can hear me, good. Okay, so it's important to understand that Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight, right? He is asking him to become angry. Now, we're known as a religion of peace and love. Why would God be doing this? This is confusing to many people. But the fact is that Krishna asked Arjuna to fight because this battle was a fratricidal war. It was a battle between two armies, right? Arjuna and the Pandavas, Duryodhana and the Kauravas. They were all related. They were cousin brothers. So the reason that Krishna asked Arjuna to fight this particular battle, where he would have to kill family members, is because Krishna was asking Arjuna to do the most difficult thing, because nothing could be or would be more difficult than having to kill your own family members. So in other words, what Arjuna is being asked to do is the ultimate act of sacrifice and surrender on behalf of Krishna. And it should put things in perspective for us, because we will never be asked to do anything as difficult as what Arjuna was asked to do on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So as devotees, we should understand this point, that Krishna is asking for complete surrender at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. That's the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Savadaman parijaja, abandon everything. Mame kam sharanam brajas, just surrender to me alone. So Krishna is asking for complete surrender. And we will never have to surrender as much as Arjuna did. It's an important point to understand. So Krishna creates this Yogamaya illusion to bewilder Arjuna so that he will begin to raise doubts so the Bhagavad Gita can be spoken for our benefit. Text number 26. There, Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. So this is very bewildering. This is very challenging. You know, you have to go into a battle. You're seeing friends and relatives, you know, people that you love, people that you've grown up with, people that you've shared so much with, and now you have to fight with them. Right? It's the most challenging situation that Arjuna found himself in. Text number 27. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So Prabhupada points out in the purport that one who has unflinching devotion for Krishna has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. So it is the nature of a devotee to have all good qualities. Now, at this point, we see in the Bhagavad Gita, in this first chapter, Arjuna is about to give his reasons for not desiring to fight the battle. And this is typical. When we find ourselves in a difficult situation in life, we like to make excuses to get out of the situation. I think all of us are familiar with this kind of mentality and practice. We may do it ourselves. Sometimes you don't want to do something, you just think of, you know, different reasons why you don't want to do it. Now, Arjuna, he is going to give 5 different reasons why he does not want to fight the battle. In text 27 and 28, which we're reading now, he is giving the first reason why he does not want to fight. And the first reason is because of compassion. He doesn't want to fight because he is compassionate. He is soft-hearted. Rupa Goswami points out this is the natural quality of a devotee. A devotee is soft-hearted. And because he is soft-hearted, he does not desire to harm others. Just like we see in the world now, there are so many materialistic people with materialistic consciousness fighting unnecessarily. A devotee does not have this kind of mentality. A devotee doesn't have this mentality that he wants to harm others, or he only wants good to be done to others. Haradukaduki, he does not like to see others suffering. That is the nature of a devotee. That's the natural quality of a devotee. He doesn't like to see the defects of other people. Now, a devotee being naturally soft-hearted and compassionate, this is Arjuna's first reason for not wanting to fight. Right? He says, it says that when he saw everyone, he just became compassionate. He spoke as follows. Arjuna said, text number 28, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up." So Prabhupada points out in the purport that a devotee has all good qualities. He doesn't like to fight unnecessarily. A materialistic person wants to fight unnecessarily. He wants to fight with others. He has that consciousness. But a devotee does not have that consciousness. He doesn't want to fight with others. He wants to have peace. And only devotees can live in peace, can bring about peace on this planet. So this is the natural consciousness of a devotee of Krishna. He does not want to fight. He doesn't want to have these negative experiences with others. So Arjuna is saying, I don't want to fight on this battlefield. That's his first reason, compassion. Text number 29. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. And my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. So Prabhupada points out in the purport that there is no fear in transcendental realization. Fear of a loss of life is due to a material concept of life. Arjuna, being a pure devotee, there was no fear of dying. He wasn't fearful of fighting the battlefield, fighting the battle of Kurukshetra. It wasn't that he was fearful, it was simply that a devotee doesn't want to fight unnecessarily. So Prabhupada points out there is no fear on the transcendental platform. Now, it mentions here that Arjuna had a bow, and his bow's name was Gandiva. Now, what is the particular quality of his bow, Gandiva? It was actually given to him as a gift by Varunadev, the god of the ocean. And this bow, Gandiva, was famous all over the universe. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna spent time in the forest, as all the Pandavas did, performing austerities so that he would develop power to achieve victory in the battle, which he knew was coming. So he did austerities, and when he did austerities, he received potency. He received the blessings of various demigods, devatas. They blessed him so that he would become more powerful, so that he could win the battle. He would be victorious in the battle of Kurukshetra. So Arjuna performed these austerities, and he was gifted with different weapons from different devatas, different demigods. So Varuna gifted him with a bow whose name was Gandiva. This bow was famous all over the universe. And it said that when he twanged the bow, when he let go of the arrows on the bow was so powerful it would make like a thunderclap every time that he would shoot an arrow. So you can imagine how fearful and intimidating it would have been to face Arjuna on the battlefield. You know, he's riding towards you on the chariot with Krishna. Hanuman is on his flag, shouting war cries. His bow Gandiva is sounding like thunderclaps every time he releases arrows. And it says that when he would shoot with this bow Gandiva, then the arrow would go for 1 mile straight before it would begin to drop, lose velocity. That is the power of this bow, which Arjuna had. Arjuna actually took a vow when he received the bow, because the bow was so famous and such a well-known bow within the universe, that Arjuna took a vow that if anyone ever says, I am not qualified to wield Gandiva, I will kill that person. So if someone said to him, you are not qualified, other warriors may challenge him or ridicule him by saying, you're not qualified to carry that bow, Gandiva. And he said, right, Arjuna said that if anyone ridicules me in that way, challenges me in that way, I will kill them. He took that vow. So one time, later, after the Bhagavad Gita was spoken and the battle of Kurukshetra begins, Yudhishthira, his elder brother, was facing Karna, who was also Arjuna's elder brother. They didn't know that at the time, but he was facing him on the battlefield, and Karna wounded Yudhishthira and sent him off the battlefield. So when Arjuna heard that Yudhishthira had been wounded and removed from the battlefield, he said to Krishna, take me to Yudhishthira. So Krishna drove the chariot off the battlefield, and they went to visit Yudhishthira to see if he was okay. And Arjuna said, when he entered the pandal, when he entered the tent where Yudhishthira was resting, Yudhishthira said, have you avenged me? Have you killed Karna? He said, no. He said, I just came to visit you to make sure you were okay. And Yudhishthira said, you have not killed Karna? You've left the battlefield without killing him, without seeking revenge and defeating him on my behalf? You are not qualified to carry Gandiva. And when Arjuna heard that, he was mortified because he thought, now I have to kill my brother who has belittled me. I've taken that vow. And this is one of the important cultural features of Vedic culture, that when someone takes a vow or makes a promise, it's like it is etched in stone. You know, these days, if we make a promise or take a vow, most of the time, many times, people cannot keep their promise or maintain their vows. Whereas Arjuna and people of that caliber, if they took a vow, then they had to fulfill it. So because he had vowed, he would kill anyone who had insulted him by saying that he could not wield the Gandiva bow. He was beside himself in disappointment that he now had to kill his own brother. So he said to Krishna, what do I do? I can't kill him. He's my brother, my Lord. But at the same time, I could not give up my vow. Krishna said, kill him with your words. So Arjuna then spoke words that defamed Yudhishthira. And then after saying everything he said, killed him with his words, then he fell down at his feet and he said, please forgive me for what I have said. So in this way, he was able to maintain his vow without killing his brother. Okay. Text number 30. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. So Prabhupada explains in the purport that everyone is interested in himself, but one's real interest lies in Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. So Prabhupada is pointing out the nature of the conditioned souls in this world. The conditioned souls in this world are completely self-absorbed and are egocentric. And we are all like that to some degree. And we see it all around us every day. That people are absorbed within themselves. But as Prabhupada points out in the purport, one's real self-interest lies in serving Krishna. So a devotee is the most selfless person. Why? Because he gives his life just for serving Krishna. So as devotees, we should be absorbed in service to Krishna. We need to learn to give up our selfishness, our egocentric, self-centered nature, and surrender more and more to Krishna. And in this way, we'll be happy and satisfied. Okay. Text number 31. Now, the first reason that we've already spoken of why Arjuna did not want to fight. The first reason he gives was because of compassion. Now, the second reason is he thinks about enjoyment. How can I enjoy in this world if everyone who I love is dead? So this is his second reason for trying to avoid the battle. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the way Arjuna is thinking is, if I win this battle, I will suffer greatly. Those I kill will be elevated to the sun planet, but no good reaction will come to me. So that is Arjuna's mentality. Arjuna is thinking, I can others will die and they will get the benefit, because it says in the Vedic teachings that if one dies on the battlefield, one will automatically be elevated to the sun planet, which is a heavenly planet. But I will be stuck here on earth. All my friends and family will be dead. I'll be suffering, and they will be liberated. So what's the point of me fighting and winning this battle? I can't enjoy. There'll be no happiness left in my life, which is a strong argument. But although he gives these strong arguments, Krishna rejects them and says, no, you do your duty, and your highest duty is to serve me, to please me. So Prabhupada points out in the purport that fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. So if we're too affected by this material world, right, if we're too absorbed in this material world, what takes place? We cannot enjoy. We will lose our mental equilibrium, and we'll become fearful. If we're too much absorbed in just enjoying ourselves, we'll never be happy in this world. And you see people who are too much absorbed in just enjoying themselves and in sense gratification, they cannot be happy in this world. They don't find happiness in this world. So Bhagavad Gita teaches us to be selfless, to give up this desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. Okay. So text number 32 to 35. Also, Arjuna is arguing on this platform that I cannot enjoy if I kill everyone on this battlefield. Oh, Govinda. Now, the word Govinda, Arjuna uses this word Govinda. Govinda means master of the senses, one who gives pleasure to our senses. So Arjuna is arguing with Krishna, you're supposed to give pleasure to my senses, but you're asking me to kill everyone. Oh, Govinda, why don't you give pleasure to my senses? Oh, Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me Why shall I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, Janardana, once again, one who maintains everyone, one who is meant to look after everyone. Why are you asking me to fight? I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? So Prabhupada points out in the purports in this section that without knowing one's real self-interest is in Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by bodily relationships, hoping to be happy. So without knowing, people who don't know, who are ignorant, who do not accept that serving Krishna is the highest benediction for humanity, and they're absorbed in the bodily concept of life, they can never be happy in this world. That's why Krishna speaks the Bhagavad Gita, to lift us out of that material consciousness. Then Prabhupada says that when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. So if we can learn to put Krishna's satisfaction, Krishna's desires first, then we will always be happy and satisfied in any circumstance in life. But when we do not put Krishna's senses and Krishna's desires first, we will always be miserable. And that's why so many people are miserable in this world. Prabhupada says in the purport that a devotee does not retaliate against a wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreant. So devotees, we don't want to fight, we don't want to retaliate. And we trust that if someone treats us improperly in this world, we don't have to worry, because Krishna will take care of it. Krishna will give them what they deserve in due course. So for a devotee, we're always peaceful, because we don't try to cause harm to others unnecessarily. So I'll stop there for tonight. Next week we'll continue. We'll finish chapter 1. Does anyone have any questions or any comments on anything that we discussed tonight? Okay. Thank you all for coming. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, see you soon, Prabhu.
Haribo. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.